Howdy, y'all. Welcome to this Christmas edition of the foam rolling for your lower body video. We're going to be going over various different muscle groups. Let's go ahead and get started here. So we're going to begin with foam rolling your quad, which is going to be the front of your leg here. So what I like to do is position the foam roller where I'm right on the edge of it. So I believe what I do here is I actually reposition myself so you can see it better. As I get myself on the edge of the foam roller, let me go ahead and transition myself here. As I get my thigh on the edge of the foam roller, I'm going to hike up my opposite knee to where my knee's at about a 90-degree angle with my hip and my knee's on the ground there. And from here, I'll have about 3 points of contact, which is going to be my hands, my knee, and sometimes even my toe of the back leg. All right, so the more limbs you have on the ground, the more support you have. You don't want to keep one arm up in the air, your knee up in the air. Let yourself be grounded here. And just take about 30 to 60 seconds rolling up and down your quad here, pointing your toe straight down. You can even do what I'm doing here by hitting a tender spot and just simply trying to bend your foot back towards your butt. All right. So every single place that we foam roll here, you're going to set a timer for 30 to 60 seconds, depending on how tight it is, and just simply work on it. So right in here, you'll see we're getting deep into the hips. So I'm really working on my hip flexors here. So again, set a nice timer and just work on this top portion of your hip flexors in here. You'll notice I'm kind of rotating my body. I'm opening my hips out to the side or opening my hips or closing my hips off by pointing them down on the ground to work on my hips. Don't be afraid to rotate your body. Next, we're moving to the IT band here. So this is the side of the thigh. Imagine the seam of a pair of jeans right in between your hamstring and your quad. Really tender spot for a lot of people. Again, 30 to 60 seconds here for each leg. Just working on it. Don't be afraid to point your toe up or even point your toe down towards the ground to kind of get an angle here, whether you're getting closer to your quad or closer towards your hamstring here. You could even play around with this position and also try to bend your knee forward and back if you'd like as well too. What that does is just really hammer in on one knot. You can see by the painful expressions on my face, it definitely works. So just to recap, we've gone from the quad, then we went right into the hip flexors, so just in tight on that groin area. And then we went over to the IT band for this one. You'll see now I'm really getting closer to that hamstring by pointing my toe up. If I want to get a little bit more close to my quad on that IT band, I'm going to point my toe down. Really just feel out wherever your body is tight. God designed all of our bodies uniquely, so it's all going to be a little different. Next, what you're going to want to go ahead and do after that IT band is go ahead and work on the inside of your thigh, which will be your adductors here. Okay, so you're going to bring your knee up to about a 90-degree angle with your hips. Knee is equal with your hips, as you see me pointing at right there. And from here, you're just going to roll all the way up into your groin, which is very, very painful. Roll all the way up into the groin. And then roll all the way back towards the knee. Find where you're tender at, guys. Wherever you have the knots at is where you want to stay here, okay? There's no specific mandate that you have to go up and down the whole leg the entire time. Find your tender spots and just work on them. And then feel free to do what I'm doing here and just floss through that range of motion by bending and flexing and extending your knee. For a lot of people who have a lot of knee pain, rolling out the adductors just as I'm doing will help out tremendously. I've personally had double knee surgeries and my adductors get really, really tight. Same with my IT band. And whenever I work on both of them combined, my knee pain is reduced dramatically. You can see the facial expressions here. This one hurts. All right. So just to recap the order, we've gone from the quad to the hip flexors to the IT band, and now we're working on the adductors here on that side of the leg. And then we're going to go ahead and transition now into the glutes. Okay, so if we've been working on our left leg this whole time, I'm going to go ahead and put my left foot on top of my right knee. All right, so we're going to put the foot of the leg that we're working on top of the opposite knee, and we're going to point our hips in the same direction as the hip that we're working on. So if we're working on my left hip, like you see here in the video, we're going to point our hips to the left and just simply roll this area out here for a good 30 to 60 seconds. This is where a lot of people who sit a lot all day will have a lot of tightness. Don't be afraid to rotate your hips here slightly and kind of rock back and forth here to find the right spot. All right, the glutes are very, very tight muscles, so just find wherever you need to work on. As well as with this, don't be afraid to go into the area of your upper glute that almost feels like it should be your lower back, but it's actually going to be just that high glute. For a lot of people, that's where they can get a ton of tension here. And don't be afraid to also kind of rotate your body on that foam roller to be able to find the right position for you on the foam roller to get your glutes just right. This is an important area that you do not want to neglect. To be honest, you don't want to neglect any of these areas. So we've gone from the quad to the hip flexors, to the IT band, to the adductors, then to the glutes, and now we're going to work on our calf. So this is an area that I don't personally foam roll a ton, but it's included in this video because some of you guys are very tight on the calf. And as you'll see here, I'm pointing out that the calf is actually split up into two heads, the inside and the outside. So as you do this and roll out your calf, you'll want to focus on smashing just the inside or just the outside. So you're gonna need to rotate your foot and just roll it out like that. If you just roll it out with your toe facing straight up to the air, you're not going to get as much work on it if you're pointing your toe straight to the sky. You're gonna want to point it to the left or to the right to be able to get the most bang for your buck here. So personally, my calves are not as tight as a lot of people's, and I get much more work when I actually stretch them rather than foam roll them. So I have to put a lot of pressure on this by putting a hand on there to get the right amount of pressure and force on my calf. So don't be afraid to do the same of getting a hand on there just to work on it. This would also be a good point to check in with your breath. Make sure that you are breathing throughout this entire session. Don't hold in your breath or resist these movements. You want to relax into each and every single one of these. Now, finally, after the calf, we're going to work on our hamstring, which is the bottom of our thigh here, and just simply rolling it out. Same thing with the calf. You can either point your toe in or point it out to be able to get the most. It's about 10 o'clock as I'm filming this, so that yawns from a little tiredness. You're going to want to work on the inside and the outside of this to finish on off. All right, y'all. We are all done. Thank you so much. Hope you guys have a phenomenal day.